Alex, I've heard this argument brought up a lot by Christians, and I've never really fully understood what it is, but I think maybe you can shed some light on it. What is the cosmological argument?
Yeah, the cosmological argument is one of the most powerful arguments that we can use against an atheist. And I urge everyone in my apologetics course to memorize it because it is so powerful. And it's been around for centuries, but in more modern times, it was refined by William Lane Craig, and he uses it quite a bit. And here's how the argument goes. There's two premises and one conclusion. Premise number one is everything that begins to exist has a cause. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe had a beginning, premise two, and the conclusion, therefore, the universe has a cause. Let me say that again. All things that begin to exist have a cause. The universe had a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause. Let's break that down. Premise number one is that all things that begin to exist have a cause. That nothing can create itself. Anywhere you look, everything that exists had a previous cause. In fact, it would be a contradiction of terms to say something can create itself because it would actually have to exist at least 1 second before it existed to do the creating. So premise number one is very solid. Anywhere you look in the universe, nothing has the ability to create itself. Premise number two is that the universe had a beginning. There is consensus among the scientific community starting back in the early 1900s with general relativity, that the universe had a beginning, that the universe had a starting point, that there was a time that there was nothing, no darkness, no light, no stars, nothing, and the universe suddenly came into existence. Again, there's consensus among all scientists today that the universe had a beginning. So if your premise number one is correct and premise number two is correct, then it only flows that your conclusion is correct, and that is something caused the universe. The universe had a cause. Something caused it, brought it into existence. So that's the cosmological argument. But of course it begs the question, what caused the universe? And there's a saying in the scientific community that a cause must be sufficient to account for the effect. A cause must be sufficient to account for the effect. Let me say it one more time. A cause must be sufficient to account for the effect. What does that mean? Suppose one day you came to my house and you saw a painting of a beautiful landscape, beautiful painting with the sun setting, with the trees and everything else. And it was signed. And you said to me, who painted this beautiful painting? And I said to you, a frog painted this painting. And you would think, of course, I'm crazy. And what if I told you, though, that, hey, I was walking into the house one day and I had all this painting supply in my bag and I dropped it and I came back an hour later to pick it up and there was this beautiful painting on the ground and there was a frog with a paintbrush in his hand about to sign it. Would you believe me then? You'd still think I'm crazy, wouldn't you? And why? Because the cause isn't sufficient to account for the effect. The frog is not sufficient to account for the beautiful landscaping. When we talk about a universe coming into existence from nothing, when we talk about a solar system coming together by chance, when we talk about a wing, a bird in flight, a kidney, an eye coming together by natural selection, we know that the cause is not sufficient to account for the effect. Painting requires a painter. A computer program implies a computer programmer. A book implies an author. The universe implies a great creator. So that is the cosmological argument, the short version. Does that help?
That makes a lot of sense.